It's being played on every radio station in the United States, is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden symbols and messages as well.
Special question. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensimilla, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it ganja.
Welcome to another edition of the Adam Dunn Show. I am your host, Adam Dunn, and I'm in an empty studio today. But we do have a call in. We have Robert Friedman calling in from Cannabis Lab in Miami, which I just found out is, I think it's boring sounding stuff for our people. I was like, wait a minute, accounting and business? Things we know, law, that's what lab stands for them. See, our labs are a different kind of labs, but
right.
But we got Robert Friedman coming. He's doing some good stuff down in Miami. He's at the sort of the front end of what's happening there, which we'll get more details from him when we talk to him. We were going to have Purple Urkel guy on if he's around and he's listening to the show, and he's like, wait a minute, I was supposed to be on the show. You're still on, 100%. But unfortunately, your handler, which is Mr. James Bean, just went fucking completely AWOL on me. Got home from his Alaska trip and I think he's just doing a mega power nap right now.
Right.
So I think he's turned his phones off. He's in one of those he's like, right now he's dreaming and thinking, but he's about to wake up in a panic and be like, wait a minute, Purple Urkel show. So the call-in number is 720-310-8237. If you're listening. Now, see, that was the other thing, too. I didn't even know the guy's official name. I was like, wait a minute. So what's the guy's name again? And it was like, nobody knows.
No one even knows.
So he's just Mr. Purple Urkel to everybody out there. But if he's listening and he wants to jump in, anytime, call in, and we will bring that to the show, too. Robert Friedman, we're going to have him call in at around 1:45. But either way, I don't care. I'll put him on. We'll flip it back and forth if we have to.
Absolutely.
And let's see what's going down. How have you been? What's going on?
Good, man.
How's Mr. MTI?
Just got back from Vegas last weekend, and then that was fun. Bought weed out there.
Tell us your adventures in Vegas and the weed.
Yeah, it was. So I was just looking to just buy like an eighth for the weekend or whatever. So I went to this place called the Apothecary Shop, and it was
off the strip.
Yeah, it was about like a block or two off the strip, but it was like a 7-minute Uber or something like that, an hour walk. Which is weird. Because that's how it works out in Vegas on the strip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
to get over there, you got to go all the way around there to get to there again.
Absolutely, yeah. So
did you see that guy selling weed that was on the news? There was some dude out there like on the strip selling. He was selling weed on the strip, and it was like the classic first thing people think of when weed gets decrimmed or legalized or whatever. They're like, well, I'm just selling the baggie. You get the weed is free.
Right.
One of those deals, $40 baggie. But he was selling like a pipe. It was like $20 for a pipe and papers and a bud, and it would look like shitty weed, of course.
Of course, yeah.
And he was like, "But I don't carry more than an ounce, so I'm legal." I'm like, "Yeah, but you have like 20 different little baggies,
right?
But you don't have an ounce. It's like,
still
that's even worse, right? I mean, back in the day, that was like the worst thing you could do. That was better to have an ounce on you. You'd be like, "That's my ounce,"
and not separated, into different baggies.
So yes, so the growing pains were fun though. Did you smell weed everywhere you went?
Surprisingly, not really. But we didn't do too much strip walking. We pretty much just hung out at Mandalay Bay on the beach.
There's not in July, dude. There's no.
Yeah, dude, it was pretty hot.
If you get out, you just go outside for a second, make one wrong move, and you're outside. You're like, oh no, get back into the air conditioning.
Absolutely, no. We tried to go out at like 11 at night to go walk the strip, and ended up just like making it out to the entrance and then walking back in. So yeah, we were just cooling off by the pool. We watched the Dirty Heads, the band.
Cool.
Over the weekend, that's what we went to go do. But yeah, like the weed thing was weird because you walked into the shop and you had to get the person's attention. Like it was like being at a bar actually. So you had to get flag the bud tender down and
Okay, so they treated it more like that.
Yeah, at least this store I went to.
So what? They just had a big long counter and anybody could go anywhere they wanted on the counter.
And all the counters had different flavors, different strains.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it was weird because you had to go visit all the stations. Yeah. And then you had to get someone's attention to go sell you the weed. And it
wasn't quite the most efficient sounding.
No. It was like $55 an eighth for a medical patient.
Yeah. That's what I heard, $55, $60 an eighth or something like that. Yeah. Which is, they're raking it in for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, well, that's the thing about, I've been through a bunch of facilities down there, and they're definitely on the larger side. Like, everybody who's growing there is taking it a little bit, overkill in a sense. A lot of big investment. There's $100 million gardens down there. I mean, that's how much people have put. It's like, you're like, you've already put $100 million into this thing? Like, holy fuck, that's just like, I don't know if you're ever going to get that money back. It seems like more of a
money sink, I guess.
Definitely money sink.
Yeah.
But, it is Vegas. I mean, that's the whole thing. I've always imagined, whenever I was there, I was always like, man, imagine if this place had weed, how much better it'd be. And now it's there. So it's going to be fun to see the transition. And with our friends, I got like Jack, our other friends out there that live there for, their whole life.
Yeah.
They'll give us the real lowdown on how it goes. I'm sure it's one of those things where it's going to look from the outside like it's working, but who knows? Because it's like, almost every cannabis business from the outside, there's an illusion of it all running smoothly.
Oh,
but
I'll go check it out.
Yeah, one sec.
Hello.
So we've got a mystery guest in the house. Besides that, let's see what's going down. We're getting into the height of the season here for events. It seems like next week is Vegas next week is Seattle for the next Indo Expo. That's going to be pretty awesome. I'll be going there for Seeds Here Now. And then the week after that, it's back to Vegas for the Southwestern Cannabis Exposition or something like that. Can't even keep up with the names and what's going on down here. So hopefully going to be able to do. It's like one of those things. I wish I could do more shows from the road, but it seems everywhere I'm at is useless when it comes to the internet and stuff. But it's getting tighter. Hopefully I'll get that worked out. What is going on? I got an echo from something. Oh, it's probably from here. There we go. Duh. Sorry about that. Let's see. Find out what the hell that was. Who is that?
They're putting on extra security on the door because of the break-in next door. So they're just putting some on real quick. They said they won't be too loud.
Okay. Interesting. Always during the show, you know what I mean?
Right.
Always during the show. Let's see what else has been going down. I got completely lost. Once I heard people mumbling up there, you never know what the fuck's going on. So.
Right. So we're talking about the lowdown in
Vegas. Vegas lowdown. Vegas lowdown. So I'm gonna be down there in 2 weeks. I was just saying there's a show coming up in 2 weeks there. It's always different too if you go there when there's not a cannabis show going on, because when you're there when there's a cannabis show, it's just like everybody's smoking, everybody. You go there at a non-thing, and it's like, oh, well, maybe we're just those guys that just do that. Doesn't matter where we are at. So. If you're staying at the hotel where the fucking show's at, you can pretty much guarantee someone's out front within 10 feet of the front smoking a joint at all times.
Right.
And nobody really cares, but it is definitely different when you go when there's a fucking electronic show going on or whatever other show.
Sure.
It's like there's 2 guys with a vape pen maybe if you're lucky.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
for the most part, it's like. Most people, that's not their playground for that. You know what I mean? They're there to play video games or whatever.
Right. We just smoked in the smoking sections.
Yeah.
Just whenever she went to first cigarette, I just loaded a bowl and we just smoked down there.
And had no issues.
No one even batted an eye at us. It felt like home. It was kind of weird.
Right. It's interesting too. As I was when we were in Boston, it was the same thing. It was looser than here because it was new, and there really was no rules.
Right.
And when I was in Portland last, and when in Seattle and different places like that, it's like all those places are very much more relaxed as far as out in front of a bar or whatever, because they're even more cannabis cultured people in the sense than here. Even though here has always had a kind of Colorado's always had good weed. But it wasn't really it wasn't like the vibe of everybody, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Whereas once you hit California, there are certain areas. You can hit NorCal, you pull up into the gas station and everybody in there blazes. You pull into this, everybody's there. Yep. Here it's it's like hit and miss, but it is definitely it's interesting to see how the new places that don't have the rules yet, because there it was just like, you can smoke, right? And it's like, no. I mean, you do have to use common sense now because everything is so zoned. But it is, it should be exactly what you said. Smoking section, smoke weed. Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
That's what I would expect. That's what
Yep, smells way better than cigarettes anyway. So like,
for sure, for sure. So let's actually do the run through on the sponsors, so that way when we're talking to Robert, we can just kind of roll with it and not have to jump off.
All right.
We'll start with our buddies from New Millennium, nutrient line that coming out of here in Colorado. So it's one of those things where it hasn't quite hit. It's not in every single store, but if it is or available in your area, or if it's not, you can always tell the guy to get it in and check it out. Great line, super clean, also smart line. You know what I mean? The guy Neil who put it together, he's been in the industry a long time, and he kind of made something that's professional enough you can do it in scale, obviously, but also in a small grow you can utilize it yourself. Everything's seasonal, which is cool. So in the beginning you're using your spring, and the end you're going to use your fall and your winter flush. So it's all got like a logical sort of progression to it. And the great part is that they kind of what I liked with it is that you can use other things with it. So if you already got your little program, and things like Bud Swell, which is already in their like recommended additions to their formulas, is something that I've used for 20 years almost. So it's like just knowing that there's like steady things, like, and the fact that they actually chose those was just weird. It was like, that's what I've been using. So I was very comfortable with that. And they also work with Playground's Green Sensation product, which is like for later flower stuff, and it's amazing explosive growth coming off of it, and it's super concentrated, hella expensive, but it definitely works. Also, and that's kind of their advanced line. That's for their professional series, let's say. But in the sense of their standalone, it works great. You can go to newmillenniumnutrients.com and check out their calculator. They have nutrient calculator, so if you have a certain amount of space, size, plants, all that, you can input it in there and figure out exactly what you need, so you don't waste any time or money. And it's all updated, which is nice. It's already in there, right? Or it says June.
It says come in June, but
ooh, that's a scary sight. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully it's up soon. And running soon. But if it's not, I think it should already been. I thought it was already. Is that them being quiet up there? Wow, that's quiet. Imagine if they would said, "Look, we'll be really loud." It's going to be super loud, guys. Not sure if you guys can hear that, but we have drilling going on through doors and things. And
I told them to be quiet, and that's quiet. So
cool. I'm glad people understand that. But yeah. And our buddies over at Incredibles. Is that their side? Do they have that?
They added music to their site, so I have to remember to mute it every time I forgot.
Yeah, well, you can also let it run if it's just music, if it's not them talking. But there we go, beautiful, because that gives a sort of vibe. Guys from Incredibles, they have the most consistent edibles here in Colorado, the best flavors, and also their in-line extract black label is super fire. So if you ever can get hands on that one, do it. They've added chews, they've added sour gummies, they've added all sorts of little treats. You can go to iloveincredibles.com, right?
Yep.
See, the music is throwing me way off big time. I'm like, man,
there we go.
That was knocking me down. Ooh, those indica cinnamons sound like my thing. But those are not. Are those hard candies or those chews?
They're chewies.
So they probably have gelatin in them.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
I'll have to double check.
Oh, maybe. Well, they might be conscious of that, and know that.
I know Derek. I know Derek. He is conscious of that. He's like, eat the hooves, man. Eat the hooves. Come on, kid. Come on, just eat it. It's just hooves. I don't know. I can't do it. Well, it depends. Maybe we're not. We'll see. It says organic something, though. Organic apples. What was that?
Let's see. The gummies. No, they have like 3 different flavors. Or no, they have way more flavors now.
See, they're just. That's what I said. Between last week and this week.
They got champagne gummies. They got fruit chews, which have lemon, green apple, and cherry. They have red licorice, sour gummy, cinnamon, cannabis drops, and CBD strawberry chews.
Wow. This is super quiet.
Yeah.
You guys can check out that website and see on Store Finder if they are near you. If you're in Nevada, They might be near you. Did you see them out there?
No, I didn't. I actually didn't. But there wasn't a ton of edibles at the place I went to. It was pretty much all just flour and some really nasty looking oil that I didn't want to touch at all.
Right. Crazy. Yeah. So if you go to the store finder on that site, maybe if you are in Vegas, and you can hone in on the quality, because whoever's going to have this on their shelf is definitely going to understand quality, because that's why they went for the best of the best. Okay, next one. Build a Soil. You can go to buildasoil.com and check out their website for amendments and soil needs that you may have, and everything organic, everything also for your integrated pest management, your IPM program, for grow materials, tents, everything. They kind of got a little everything, right? Which is awesome. And all the hard to find stuff. Like if you go to a regular grow shop, there's only a few that carry any of these products that are from Build a Soil, and usually come from Build a Soil anyway. So you're like, hey, where'd you get that? And they're like, oh, I got it from Build a Soil. And you're like, oh, of course, because who the hell has that? Nobody. Guys over at Chlorophyll have a few products from them. But in general, delivered to your door, which is awesome. One bag up to as many bags as you can handle, pretty much. I think he said something like 30,000. We can handle to about 30,000 bags, and then we get a little bit tired. So, and they're mixing by hand, which is crazy. So, what are you talking about? 30,000 bags mixed by hand? Who does that these days?
Right.
You can go to buildasoil.com, or you can go to 855-877-SOIL. Talk on the old phone thingy. That's basically, most people don't even, gotta call them? Like, what? No, but you can definitely talk to them. They're humans. It's not like you're gonna get stuck into a computer thing where if you don't get to talk to anybody, they are knowledgeable people, which is awesome. And everybody on the staff is. That's what's awesome about that place. It's like, you can, obviously if you get Jeremy on the line, you're lucky, but anybody can answer your questions pretty much. Hit them up. They are the ones. And then our big sponsor is Mr. Sleepyhead himself. Seeds here now. You're dreaming. If you try listening to the show and then we're probably in his dreams right now.
Right.
Going, seeds here now. Seeds here. Where are they? Now. He's like running. He's doing the Running Man or something. The seeds. 35 different breeders, all American based, and all been vetted through this incredibly tough system. But no, they only work with really quality breeders that all, and you can see by the list, we're not kidding around. We had Top Dog on the other day. They've got Aficionado. They've got Gold Coast. They've got everybody who has been doing this for more than, longer than they have, which is their rule, which is I think 5 years they've been around. But that and pretty much everybody that I know is 3-4 times that. Also, they got Seedsaholic site, which is a auction site, and that's got some incredible deals on it. Some of them are lost packs, the last of the last, the one and the only. Some great genetics there, and then you have now with the auction, you can't put a guarantee on everything. I don't know about the auction guarantee, but with their actual seed site, when you're buying them from the breeders, there's a 100% guarantee, which is unheard of in this industry. But he stands behind it, and you don't really have to replace a lot because you work with quality and people don't complain. Now, you can't take the piss and complain about everything just because you're a whiny cunt, because that happens all the time. You know how people are.
Yep.
Man, this didn't totally fucking roll itself on the plant and smoke itself. What the fuck? But in general, why are flies just so on it? Like when they know you're they come straight to your face.
Right. They're kind of like cats.
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing?
Cats will come fuck with whatever you're messing with.
Yep. I don't know if they're exactly like cats, but flies are like cats, according to MTI.
Yep.
You can go to the website from Seeds Here Now and order direct and have it discreetly delivered. Also, you can go to Seedsaholic and bid on your stuff, and hopefully good luck on those ones, because it's always that's like back in the day when you had to bid on everything. You know what I mean? Now you just buy it. Now it's just Amazon style. But there was a time when everything was about bidding. That's why I never got into that shit. I was always like totally impatient. I'm gonna kill this fucking fly, dude. It's driving me nuts. He's gonna fly into my mouth, I think, at one point. He's that kind of a fucking shit. What a piece of shit. All right, so I think in about 4 minutes, if he's on time, he's into law, accounting. So I'm going to lose all my listeners right now. Like, I'm out of here, man. This guy's an accountant, but he's a stoner too. So I mean, that's the most important part.
Right.
And also he's in Miami, which I was just at, and it's pretty interesting to see because you know how that place is as far as like when shit starts to happen there, it's going to pop off pretty heavy.
Right.
Because everyone's got lots of money and they're all show-offs and they want to fucking be the biggest and the most glad-see. And, oh, this fly, dude, it's ridiculous. He's on the mic.
I can see it now.
So
you need something to swat him with or something? Or magazine?
I'm not going to start swatting flies. In the middle of the show. I mean, actually, you know it's fucking funny, too? You know why he's fucking with me?
Why?
Is because I got one of those assault guns. You know, have you seen those? There's a salt gun that you can shoot flies with.
Oh, really?
So it looks like you pump it. And I haven't, it's for my mom. I haven't given it to her yet, but it's for her because down at the farm, you know, it's flies. It's a fucking farm. So there's flies everywhere. So you fucking take this thing, you load it up, you get like 80 shots, right? See, look at, he's like, he knows it.
Yeah, he's all on you, man.
He's on me. The fuck? And anyway, so you can get like 80 shots off, and it'll fucking fly up, but it won't break him up. Like it doesn't explode him into pieces, but it's just enough impact to kill him.
Oh wow!
And not enough to blow him up though. So you don't get, maybe you lose a wing or something once in a while, but you don't get this like splatter everywhere.
Oh, okay.
Pretty funny. And just
I've never even heard of that.
It's called assault gun.
Oh, okay.
And it's pretty awesome. And then it sucks though because right after I ordered it, I realized there's a bigger model. I could have got a more powerful model. I was like, fuck it, it was only $1 more. I was like, for $1 more, I could have had a more powerful one. Because then the reason I got it is she's got these grasshoppers, which are ridiculous. So this salt gun, the first one I got, it's nice, but it's really only for flies.
Right.
But I'm ordering the bigger one that'll take down grasshoppers and shit because he's like
crazy.
Her place is ridiculous.
So does it shoot like one big grain of salt, or does it shoot like a whole like ploof of smoke or ploof of salt?
It shoots a little like shotgun style. You know,
oh, okay. Just like a piece, like a big old piece.
No, like a bunch. Like,
oh,
because it's
gotcha.
You put in like the Morton, like the one with the chick, fucking
You just put that in there.
kind of salt. So it's not the gritty shit. So it's got to be the same, the fine.
Gotcha.
Quality.
Oh, okay.
This fly, look at him.
He's just chilling.
Look at this. I'm gonna do like a Chinese fucking thing. So okay, 3:44. He probably calls in about a minute.
Oh, right.
Also, anybody wants to call in during the show, 720-310-8237. Feel free, chat gang. You can also call in once in a while and say how you feel.
Yeah.
Tell us how your day is going.
All those questions.
Make it into a real show. Yeah. But not, whatever. And or come at me, man. Come at me, bro, with some questions.
Yeah.
You never know. You might get a whole show out of it. Actually, I do have a great lead on a good show with the story behind the guy who invented the whole Twister concept. Which. Because the Twister wasn't even the first. It was like the second or third ripoff of
the game.
The design, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so we talked to the original guy, but we got to do some background stuff because there's a lot. It's crazy.
Really?
It's one of those stories that there's twists and turns and
crazy.
It's like oh shit, maybe I should text him the number again because I bet he fucking. I bet he. Probably is like, wait a minute, what was the number he said again? I'll give it, and let's see, one sec.
The chat gang is asking if we're ever going to meet your mom.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, she's she doesn't even like to listen to the show. That's the problem.
Ah, okay, I see.
She gets all like, man, I don't want to listen to his voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure at one point in time we will get Mom on the show. It's funny how when I was a kid, she was the most like you know, she was the one who was always like out and about and doing everything crazy and all that. But now she's kind of like likes her little chill. She likes her chill space now.
Sure.
Which who can blame her, right?
Right.
All right. Let's see. Boom. I got. Put him going now. Bam. So he should be calling in a second. Hopefully. My vision's getting so bad too. It's like every time I type something, I have to quadruple check it because I'm like thinking I got it right. I'm all cool, and then I'm like, why aren't they calling? Like, oh, fucking 8037. All right, fly. Jesus Christ.
Someone else's Skype's getting blown up every time.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be well. We could do a show from the farm if the fucking internet was ever good down there. I can't even like make a call from there. It's fucking so shit.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, show would never work from the farm exactly.
It would have to be recorded and then later uploaded.
Yeah, we could do a little walkthrough one day. Maybe later in the season when it's more fun, we'll do a crazy walkthrough.
Yeah.
Let's. Okay, so I can. What you can do is you can type to him where to send any info to put on the thing, you know, so he can send it to you. He's sending me like links and stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, dude, this fly is out of control. Unbelievable. He thinks he's my pet. All right, I'm gonna do a dab because that will probably make this guy call, and. Maybe it'll annoy the fly and get him really high or whatever. Whatever it is, can't hurt. He's attracted to dabs. I can already tell you, this fly likes dabs. It's like flying into the torch.
Oh, that'd be nice.
And now I'm watching myself on the show. Like,
take care of two problems.
Dealing with flies. I was like, are you fucking... There he goes.
Here we go.
See, I knew that would happen. Fly's gone. He's on. Mr. Friedman.
Yeah.
How you doing?
What's going on? Doing all right.
Chilling. I'm just about to do a dab because I realized if I do a dab, then you'll call because that's how it always works, right? You know. So I have to finish that real quick. Hold on one sec. Won't take long.
All right.
I suggest you do the same if you're ready. So, I'm glad you could come on such a short notice. Shows your professionalism. Shows how professional you are.
That's right.
Johnny on the spot. Well, that's how you have to be, right? Isn't that the way this industry? If you're not Johnny on the spot, then you're missing out. I'd say, because it moves fast. How?
No, I mean that's true of any mature industry. At a certain level, you have to be responsive. You have to act like a professional.
So as far as backgrounds and stuff, what was your background? It's a great way for me to finally figure you out completely because I get you on my show. I'll be like, now I know everything. Now I know everything about this guy. But give us a little background of how you got into this industry and what direction why you came in this direction.
Sure. I mean, in many ways, I'm still very much a cannabis outsider. We've been doing legal education for several years with my company, Legal Learning Series. And if there's an emerging new practice area, if there are changes in laws, if there are new technologies, it's sort of our job to make sure that the attorneys remain updated and educated on what's going on. And a while ago, maybe a couple of years now, we started covering cannabis law. And it was really the first programs we did where people other than attorneys started showing up, executives, accountants, owners of cannabis businesses, really because the topics we were covering, I guess, were near and dear to their hearts, and no one was covering them. And that was sort of the birth of Cannabis Lab.
And did you do it was it on your own, or you had a little group going, or how was the original, how did the lab start?
Sure. So this is a company of mine I started about 7 years ago, Legal Learning Series. And it's here in South Florida. We provide continuing education programs for attorneys. We do it monthly. They're certified by the Florida Bar Association, so attorneys get continuing learning credits for attending our programs. And it's really no different, although we've really carved it out for the cannabis industry at this point.
How many? So you have like lawyers? You have law staff like on hand, or is it kind of like
So it's really a network team. it's really a networking and education association. So once a month, we have chapters now in Miami, Broward, Los Angeles. This group meets on the third Thursday of every month for networking, and we bring in really the best educator we can provide to that group. And so lawyers are near and dear to our hearts, but we really cover topics for the business level executives for the cannabis industry. So last month we talked about accounting issues in cannabis. The month before that, we talked about critical issues of investing in or creating your own publicly traded cannabis company. So it's pretty high level of education. It's not for the green rush crowd or the how do I make my own edible crowd, but really for the business aspect of running a cannabis business.
Right. Yeah, and I mean it's it's interesting how it's just always the same cycles over and over again. Each state comes on, has a lot of the same problems, but of course has their own twist. You know what I mean? Each state has its own other social issues that might overlap or whatever. How do you think? How's Miami and Fort Lauderdale and Broward and all that area? How is it receiving? I mean, I was just there recently, and I see it's happening, but it's not like it's it's not California yet. That's for sure, right?
Right. So Florida, one, is not a sophisticated cannabis market by any means. And then when you talk about how each state is rolling out or enacting their cannabis laws, Florida may be the worst. That just tends to be how we are politically. And so we are at the beginning of medical marijuana being legal here in Florida. It's all shaping up and shaping out right now. Yesterday, the main lobbying group, Florida for Care, had their annual policy update conference, and that was today, actually. And, there's 8 or 9 licensees here in Florida, which is certainly not enough. It's vertical integration, and so the attorneys and the accountants and people we educate really do need to get up to speed. But you're right. It's not the same market as LA. The people we have here are really more market entrants, people looking to find out more, to get more involved. And our chapter in LA is a very sophisticated, highly educated cannabis group.
Yeah.
They are not market entrants. They are industry leaders, really the mover and shakers of cannabis in LA. And so it's a different group. But Miami and South Florida is finding its way. I mean, there is a strong cannabis community here. It's not as big, and it'll take time.
Yeah, it's also like it leapfrogs, you know what I mean? Because you get like one place that's way behind, and then all of a sudden, once it takes on all the, usually try to take on the things that worked for some of the other states and then eliminate the other ones and actually make it better than the other one. And it's going to be interesting for the next like 3 to 5 years as everything rolls out, and then we'll start to see a little bit of continuity at some point, and obviously if it ever goes federal, then it has to get into line. But at this point in time, it's like there's such different twists, and like there's some, like Illinois sucks, certain place sucks. It's just like bam, they have a good chance to like do it right, and then they come out with either like a or like in Georgia with a CBD only, or there's these kind of like things that will never work, in the long run, because it just makes the black market stronger and doesn't address any of the social issues that it needs to. One of the things that we've seen that I think is the biggest handicap, and I don't know, what do you think? Well, I'm not sure what's happening in Florida, but is the whole social use side of cannabis, which is, I feel like the one that gets left out every time. It's always about the production and the distribution and the transportation and the everything gets figured out, and then there's never like, and we're going to let people smoke in restaurants that have smoking areas, or whatever cafes that we are going to license that are going to be able to let people smoke in their patio out back as long as they're not seen by the front. Just like there's nothing. How is it in Florida? Is that being addressed, or?
So, right, in Florida it's completely illegal. There is no social use. It's not happening. I will say, and maybe this is just true of what's happening across the country, it does seem to be less enforced. It does seem to be there's more of a population of people vaping in public and restrictions, but I mean it's illegal here, and so that's just the way it is. But yeah, it's certainly prevalent in our culture. It's part of South Florida. It's what you see when you walk around. So it's interesting to see how it's all going to shape up. Like you're saying, every state has its own weird issues and nuances, and I think what's important about our group, Cannabis Lab, is you need to get the lawyers and accountants and business leaders together. They do need to organize, talk about their issues. It's meaningful to shape the future of where cannabis is going to go. I don't think you can just leave it in the hands of politicians and say, hopefully it'll all smooth itself out or it'll all work out. There really needs to be someone or a group of someone who are saying, this is really where we want to see it go. We want to shape and define the future of cannabis and not really have it dictated to us. And so I think our group really stands a shot to play that role.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also this is like a golden moment for any state to recognize it and just be like, shit, well, if we come up with some way to make it work, then not only it'll improve our tourism, it'll give the law enforcement a sort of way to know where things are at and not have to worry about things, because that was the whole thing about Holland. That was the whole reason that coffee shops worked, is because when people smoked weed in the coffee shops, they weren't on the street smoking weed. You know what I mean? There was still people smoke weed here and there on the streets, but it was illegal and you're not supposed to. But you had an option, you know what I mean? Like if you stood out in front of a coffee shop smoking weed, they just say, hey, go back inside and smoke that joint, you know what I mean? Which is kind of nowadays so weird because everybody's so anti-smoking indoors of anything, you know what I mean? So we just have to kind of look at it from a different angle, which is, okay, if you have an outdoor space that's not, offending anybody else, because it's not the front patios don't really work, because then you're on the street and it's wafting down the whole street, and that's the thing is, that's been our Achilles heel from the beginning, is that cannabis smells strong, you know what I mean? And the better it is, the stronger it smells. So if you always had this kind of dichotomy of well, fuck, if I smoke swaggy weed, I'd probably get away with it. But since I smoke such good weed, everyone's always looking for the weed. Oh, hey, what's that? Who's smoking that? You know what I mean? So it is kind of the biggest problem, I think, for social use, just because of the fact that, smoke travels. It can go next door, and a guy next door can complain, and then he gets your place shut down or whatever. Because when we were in Miami, we realized that pretty quickly that there's a few cool spots there, but they're definitely not sanctioned in any way. You know what I mean? They're kind of riding that really, really thin line between, because they're kind of in a neighborhood. That one, I'm sure the one spot I'm talking about. It's kind of in a neighborhood. Not going to blow anybody up.
Oh yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. I've been to their events, and again, like you're saying, they really ride that line where you think you were in an adult use market. I mean, they're really putting it out there, and they've got booths set up, and people are selling their products.
Right.
And they're right in the middle of Miami, but they're completely illegal.
Exactly. So that's kind of, I mean, and is that your kind of main customers, or people trying to come into you that are or not customers, but people that are networking with you that are trying to figure out their little niche in the market, or is it kind of bigger people that are trying to come in and swipe up all the information?
Yeah, those are not our people, and so there are plenty of groups, even here in Florida, where you can find out more about how to get into cannabis. This really just isn't that group. This is for a more serious professional crowd. And yeah, there is something for everyone. And so I say it all the time, this group is a little bit elitist or exclusionary. It isn't for everyone. It's very high-level education. Sometimes it's very boring to me, a lot of the stuff lawyers and accountants talk about. But it's important because these are the people that are really coming in as the future leaders of cannabis. These are C-level executives. These are investors. These are CEO-level people that need to be informed. They need to be connected, and they're not really being served by any group. They're not really being educated in any organized way. And so this group really kind of gives a home base for that level of professional who wants to be part of cannabis or already in cannabis.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing, is a lot of times it's I'm like, if this one guy had just the right person with him to kind of guide him through, because there's so many people who have just thrown tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars at projects, and just with just having the right team behind them, they would have made it work. But usually when there's a lot, the more money there is, and the more the more difficult it is to kind of corral those things in, because also in this industry, everybody's by the time the project's actually done, the numbers don't make sense anymore. You know what I mean? And that's, you got to future-proof your projects. And some people don't know what's coming. You know what I mean? They don't see the writing on the wall when it's if you try to look at a project from 3 years ago and look at those numbers, I'm sure it's like laughable. You know what I mean? As far as like the price of the cannabis in general, the distribution price, the taxes, brackets, and everything is changing on a daily. How do you guys keep up with it all?
So the best thing we can do for our audience and our members is really to bring in the people who are on the front lines, people like you that have their finger on the pulse of the market. Because here in Florida, we don't have a wealth of people on the front lines, and so what makes us meaningful is being able to source the best and the brightest, the real leaders, and bring them to our group. And hopefully we're doing that in a way that no one else is, but it takes a lot of work. It takes you being part of our group, and we appreciate you sponsoring our LA launch. It takes people like Weedmaps who are sponsoring us, and Siva, and a wealth of other people who really keep us abreast of what's going on and who we need to get, and who needs to be our next speaker, and what the next topic we need to explore is. We listen, but we also just count on our team. That's a big part of it.
Yeah. So you guys are doing a launch in November. Is that what you were saying?
So, our goal is to be everywhere, and that's not just in the United States. Everywhere where cannabis exists and is legal, we want to make sure that we're educating our audience. And so, yeah, right now we're just getting going. And so Las Vegas is next for us, San Francisco Bay Area, and that's later this year. So hopefully, really in November will be the launch of our Las Vegas chapter.
Right. So how much of your how much experience? You said you're newish to the industry. You say, but you had a lot of you smoke cannabis pretty much since you were younger, or is that also new to you? Or give us a little background.
So I guess I definitely fall into the category of cannabis enthusiast. I'm not an everyday smoker. I certainly support the medicinal use of it. I've seen so many different cases of where it's been effective and helpful. It's hard to deny the truth of that. But I come from legal education. It's not sexy. It's not the most exciting world. But we just noticed that was an important new practice area for the people that we serve and educate. And we saw so many other people coming to our group meetings that, it really comes down to us. We really care about education, and so we care about our audience. And what Cannabis Lab is really just an extension of that. We invest our time in putting on really good programming. So we aren't a cannabis anything except for the fact that we educate the cannabis industry now, and we take education incredibly seriously. And so hopefully we're a welcome member of the cannabis community. But that's really what we are, as an education and networking association.
That's cool. And so Denver, you guys do anything out here, or have you been doing anything out here? Because I heard
we have our eye on Denver. Denver's such an important market for us, like Los Angeles, Las Vegas. We want to make sure that the team we have in place, and that goes back to your question, how do we make this happen? When you bring a new organization to town, like a town like Denver, where there's already several organizations in place, there already is great education. I'm not arguing and saying that it's lacking there. Mm-hmm. How do you make this work? And the way you make it work is you bring together a leadership that the Denver community is already looking to as leaders, people like you, so that people don't have to worry about if Cannabis Lab is a new fly-by-night organization. They know the people involved are the right people. And that's what we've built in LA and Miami and Fort Lauderdale, is a leadership that can stand on its own. It doesn't even need an organization for the cannabis people of that market to know these are the right people I need to be aligning with to get anywhere in this industry, especially in this market like Denver.
Right. Yeah, I know. I was going to say, right when I asked you that, I was thinking to myself, well, it's probably, it's a mature market here, so it's kind of not as exciting to get, and you also don't get, you're going to end up walking through. Here it's more about like refits. You know what I mean? Now you got to go into that world, because everybody who's here is either buying out somebody else on pennies on the dollar because they screwed up, or taking over or absorbing other people. That's pretty much what's going on around here. We're in that phase. Where the mom and pops are getting eaten up by the bigger players, and the numbers are getting into the 20s pluses as far as numbers of shops on people's rosters and stuff. So. We're definitely, little deeper in. But at the same time, it's kind of interesting because there's always new people. You know what I mean? There's always new people, and especially when it comes to cannabis, as far as business sense goes, you know, we know that's not always their number one forte. A lot of times it's you know, the good growers aren't the greatest business guys, and the real good business guys aren't the best growers, and that's where it's trying to find that marriage, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's specific to what we do. I mean, you compete in different markets, whether it's seeds or the clothing lines, and there's always room for quality. You should never shy away from competition. So we don't fear Denver. We don't have an issue going there. We want to make sure that when we enter Denver that we do it right. But yeah, it's too important a market for us to ignore. But it is interesting what's going on there now with the consolidation.
Yeah, it's. I mean, and the numbers are getting kind of crazy too, because it's.
Yeah.
You know, people. If you want a spot, if those people that want those spots, they don't care about what's on people's books. You know what I mean? They just look at it like it's another one. They're going to do it completely their own way. They've got the guys might have just refit the whole place and made it, but it's very hard to find two growers who agree on everything. You know what I mean? So usually they'll come in and be like, tear it all out. I'm putting my own shit in, you know, or I'm getting all new, you know, and some, you know, there's. And even I've seen guys take stuff that was beautiful and then completely just, you know, ass backwards, do everything their way. And it was like, really? You took down that really nice one to put that up, you know? Like, no wonder you have problems. Because that's, you know,
right.
I'm doing the walkthroughs I'm doing like the nightmare kitchen of grow rooms, you know what I mean? Where people, you just come in and go like, wow. Like, it's a lot of money worth of, you know, mistakes right there.
That sounds like your next project is the Nightmare Kitchen reality show.
Yeah, we've talked about it. It's like it is definitely it's like that though. Sometimes you come in and it's just like the guy has spent like, you know, $250,000 on ventilation or in air conditioning or something like that, and it's all, you know, it's not even a quarter of what he really needs to do, and he thinks he's all done, you know, and you're like, no, you've barely started, my friend, you know, and they're like, no, or they've done it all wrong from the beginning. Yeah, it's also very, very possible. So, how can people reach you? And what's if they're in Miami? You said it's every third Thursday. Is that the deal?
It's the third Thursday in every chapter everywhere. So if anyone wants to reach us, it's legallearningseries.com, or you can look us up on Google. And we have pages on Facebook and LinkedIn. Cannabis Lab is the name of the organization. It stands for Law, Accounting, Business. If you want to help start a chapter, you can certainly reach out to us in your market. We're looking for people who are already leaders in cannabis to help be a part of that. So if you're just an enthusiast and looking to find your way into the industry, it's not really a leadership position is not really going to be available to you, but we are looking for people to help grow our chapters everywhere.
Yeah, cool. And hopefully I'll see you. I'll definitely see you at the I guess I have to come to this thing now. It sounds like, right? After
That's right. You're and you're a sponsor, so
I was like,
you might as well.
I guess I got it. You know, go get my sponsor deal going for that one. And that's in November.
That's right.
That's a November deal.
That's in November.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Perfect. I was actually thinking for some reason the other day I was like, oh, this might be like the show that's coming up next week, just because it was the same Southwestern group that was there when we were there.
Oh, right.
Like last month. So I thought that might have been the issue there, where I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I'll be seeing him next week, but. Cool. We got a few more months. A little bit of time.
Unless you're visiting sunny South Florida again anytime soon.
You know, not this time of year. It's not as exciting to go there when it's like super hot here too. So you're like, don't think I want to go to Miami in July or August, but you definitely see me
later. Hotter.
Yeah, definitely see me at some point in the year for sure. I'm gonna let you run. I'm glad you could, like I said, call in on such a short notice. That was awesome, and we'll be talking to you.
Glad to do it. Thanks, Adam.
Okay, man. Take care.
Bye.
Robert Friedman. This fucking fly is driving me nuts. I'm going to go crazy, dude. And I could hear him on the mic, too. I could literally hear him on the mic. I'm going to kill you. I kill so many at my mom's house. That's probably why. I'm telling you. Like, it's like I got like bad fly karma now. Because I wake up there and it's just like, are you kidding me? Because, you know,
right.
We got horses there, dude. You know,
yeah. So
forget about it.
Right.
Forget about it. So
all Scaramucci on this.
I sent a text to Sonny Chiba to see if he wanted to roll on the mic. but with no answer yet. See, everyone's so useless. I'm gonna check with Shord, who is running the greenhouse down in Arizona that everybody gets all excited about. See if he wants to maybe come on.
Sweet.
He's not the most talkative guy in the world, but everyone is excited about that one thing, so it wouldn't be hard to get him chat about that. Hold on one sec. Talk to me while I'm doing this MTI. Come on, give me something. Give me something. Find something good.
I'm finding stuff, man.
Sessions. We didn't
talk about sessions.
Boom,
so
there you
go. The Senate actually just denied him. Basically, they're protecting states' rights.
Exactly.
For medical marijuana programs, basically. So 29 states have passed laws in various forms of medical marijuana, and with this, they will be able to keep those laws in place without, hopefully, threat of raids or anything. Sorry.
It's okay. Did you get high or something during the show, or what?
I guess so, man. Jeez. I don't know. I wasn't.
Have you seen all those Doug Benson shows they have now? Like, he's the higher court one. Did you see that yet? It's pretty funny. It's like, so he's a judge, and it's like they actually get people to like do real cases, like about as real as a people's court was.
Right.
Dun dun dun. They went in front of this old crusty judge who's not even retired or whatever. But anyway, they have Doug Benson. He gets super high. And he just sits there, and then the bailiff, they go in the back with, and they just get real baked, and they come out and just listen to these ridiculous cases, and then talk. They basically make a decision, and it's pretty funny. It's pretty good. I was like, and there's a whole bunch of weed shows where they're now smoking weed on the show, which is like, I'm like, it's like, damn, this is like a whole genre now. It's got its own, like, fucking 5 different shows where people are getting high on them.
Right.
Like, oh, well, damn it, they're stealing our thunder. No, but it's all right. It's good. The more, the better, right?
Yeah, he has a whole family of shows. It seems like
he does.
It's crazy.
Somebody's writing up anything. They're just thinking of anything weed related and being like Doug Benson. Doug Benson. He's getting all the gigs. It's cool.
Right.
Good for him. I'm definitely not doing no higher court. Let's see. So. Sent him a message. He's not usually very quick, though. That's one of those things. So.
Gotcha.
Cali. So funny. It's so funny how Nevada's running out of weed. California has too much weed. They're like right there, but they can't do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I heard something they were saying like, yeah, they're going to let them do it. I was like, there's no way.
No way. No. Whoever said that?
That would be the craziest thing ever.
That would be. No. Yeah. There would be. That would bring federal crackdown.
Yeah, of course. It's like tractor trailer trucks full of weed coming from Cali that were supposedly legal or whatever. Yeah. That would be not happening. But yeah, it's a classic scenario, isn't it?
Right.
But what I've heard is everybody's told me, like, fucking some good fire weed in Nevada already. Like, some of those places are putting out some good weed. It was expensive as hell, everybody said, but good.
Yeah, mine was tasty.
Even Bike said it, which is amazing. So.
You know what I found impressive was they actually had the terpenes listed for each strain that they had on for sale there.
They had what now?
They had the terpenes that were present in the cannabis that they're selling you right there. So like I haven't even seen that here in Denver really. You know, I mean,
a couple places might do it, but
sure.
How many were they doing?
All of them, all of them that were tested. Well, all of them were tested too. So all of them. They had the strain name, and then it had like the 4 or 5, terpenes.
Top tier.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't have like levels, but it had which ones were present.
Okay.
And it was like in order of how much was in there.
Right.
So. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, that is, and that actually in the long run would be a better profile to see because THC is like one thing, but it's very much like beer where you're kind of locked in on what hops you like. You're like, I like mosaic hops. That's what I like. So now I know, and then you go and you look for whatever has that. And so when you figure out that myrcene is your thing because you're just like that skunky guy, that's what you want, or terpenoline or something, which is you're more the hazy type.
Sure.
And then you can definitely figure out if they're the style, even if it says haze, if it doesn't have what you're looking for in that particular the kind of haze you like,
You won't get fooled by someone just naming it.
Yeah. And or just know that it's like not your style. It's like,
right.
No, that isn't my style, bro.
They also tiered their pricing. Like 2 of the same strain could be different pricing based on the amount of terpenes in the cannabis as well.
Right.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting as well.
And it was all you could use out-of-state cards there, obviously.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I brought in my card. They just wrote down the number, and I just went into the back. And then recreational and medical we're all in the same. At the one I went to, it was all the same room. It was just you got more of a discount for the medical. You didn't have to pay as much tax as the recreational, which I guess it's like 22% for recreational and like 11% for medical. That's what I pretty much gathered from what I looked up while I was there.
Mm-hmm. I guess I should repeat the number since nobody calls in ever because they don't like us or whatever, but it is 720-310-8237 if you want to chat for real or ask a question or send us in some fucking direction. Otherwise the show's going to go completely off the rails soon because we got nothing. No one's answering me. Short doesn't answer. Sunny doesn't answer. There's flies flying up my nose trying to fucking drive me nuts. And yeah, it's crazy. I actually heard the fly on the mic earlier. It was like, I could hear it. I was like, now he's on the mic?
Ruining the show, man.
I'm going to do another dab.
All right.
It's one of those shows.
One of those shows.
So you're going to look up some crazy news because there's got to be something besides. Oh, yeah, well, Sessions is a piece of shit. And
right.
I'm so glad that didn't fucking work at all.
Right.
Plus, he's in trouble now. And it's so hilarious how this whole administration is just like, the minute you think something's going to happen, it just goes completely out of the left field or something like
right.
that. So I don't know if he's even going to last anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that way. But I don't know if he's just like, I don't know if Trump is just giving him lashings on Twitter, you know what I mean? Just to like kind of shake him up a bit.
Did you see where Scaramucci was like, now I'm going to go fucking destroy this guy on Twitter?
Yeah, exactly. It was like,
it was the most like childish bullshit I've ever heard. Look, it flies on you now.
Yeah, I know, right?
I saw that.
You know what's funny is that Twitter is like the basis of all this stuff, and they're like struggling to make money. You know what I mean? Like, how does that even work? That's just really strange to me.
I know, right? Well, the big ones, all the big stuff, like Spotify is losing money on every time someone downloads a song from them, they lose money.
Wow.
It's like, well, that's not a great idea, is it?
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
Because they're just at a point where they're giving, because it's music, man, they have to pay everybody.
Right.
And they're just paying like ridiculous sums of money out, which, I mean, it's good. At least someone's getting paid.
Right.
But it is also like, it's crazy. These big giant companies that are worth $50 billion, but then they're losing money every day. It's like, what?
Right.
I don't know. Sometimes you think like, when you see a homeless guy, you're like, dude, you don't even have problems, bro. Because you're not like, you don't owe all this money like all these other people do.
Right. So one of the things that I was talking to you about before the show is that I think is going to be we got a caller.
Boom. Welcome to the Adam Dunn Show.
Hey, Adam. How's it going? My name is Joe Hawkins. I've been a long-time listener and first-time caller.
Boom. There you go. That's what we like to hear. What?
And I heard you guys just needed an idea of something to talk about.
There you go. Boom.
That's it.
Instant. Something. Tell me what you got.
Right on. Well, I was kind of curious I heard you guys talking about doing a show on the history of Purple Urkel, and I was wondering if there was any previews or any information you can give us about when that's coming up.
Well, I mean, to be quite honest, it was like one of those things where Seeds Here Now, who's one of our main sponsors, obviously, since you listen, he just listened to a show on another podcast, and got real curious because he had actually heard another story. So for him, so like we'd like to break these stories down a lot of times for him so that he can see who he's going to bring into his stable. So I don't have much to offer as far as the storyline because I listened to one side of it, and my goal was to bring in both sides. So that's kind of the idea of the show, is to show that, because what happens is these strains they literally get misquoted and misguided, like sometimes right out of the gate. You know what I mean? It's like literally
Yeah.
one guy's growing it, another guy takes a cut, calls it something else, and changes history like that quick. You know what I mean? Because then all of a sudden you get a bunch of people on this team, a bunch of people on that team. Everybody thinks they're right. And that's, that is literally the idea of the whole show in general. So I wish I could offer more and give you more on that one, but I'm kind of saving it for myself because that's how I do my shows. Is usually it's me learning just as fast as you guys, because I'm not that guy who sits around and tries to figure it all out before and then dig even deeper. I'm kind of like, a lot of times I know exactly. I got the little piece of the onion, and I'm just pulling on a little piece, and I'll like expose it all together. You know what I mean? Where are you calling from? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from San Francisco. I'm up here in NorCal.
Oh, nice. So you got some outdoor. You're sitting on some outdoor there. How's the season looking?
It's looking pretty good. I have a few things going. I got some gear from CSI Humboldt running right now. I'm sure you guys are familiar with him. Yeah. I got 2 different Bubba crosses going, so they're doing pretty well. It's going to be like my first real attempt at doing all organic outdoors. So
right, and it was
trying to do the no-till thing.
How was because I know it was a real wet start, huh, this year?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I didn't get stuff out till a little bit later, but yeah, I know a couple of people had problems with just all the rain. They put stuff out and just got flooded or just ruined. So
yeah, exactly.
Luckily, I avoided some of that, but yeah, it's been pretty bad this year.
Yeah, that's what I kind of saw. Was a lot of late. So I figured there's gonna be a lot of people people had everything out ready to go, and then flats, and because it came on so early that it wasn't even when most of them were established. A lot of people had them, like my friends of mine had them in like flats, and they just like, well, that's the end of that. Fucking, they got flooded just so bad, like literally just sunk them. But good. It's good to hear that it's been opening up because. Maybe we'll have. I mean, by the way, it looks like last year in Colorado it was like crazy late. Like we went on until late end of November. And it was just kind of like, okay, when's this shit ever gonna get like cold? I was like, So good luck on that.
Yeah, right on. I appreciate it. Usually gets pretty wet up here. There's a good fog layer that kind of hangs over this part of the bay, so that's always an issue, getting the right amount of sun. But usually it's been okay.
Sure, and then mold issues, of course, at the end of the season and all that. Well.
Exactly.
Stay on top of it. And good luck, and thanks for calling in.
Yeah, most definitely. I appreciate you guys talking to me. Oh, and one quick question, if I could. Were you guys ever going to touch on the history of the hog's breath again? I know you guys have kind of gone over it a couple times, but
yeah, I mean the hanging, it was the Hanging Limbs over Overton was the name of the crew that was, and they were that we kind of. Basically, I had a letter, and I think we when they were there a couple weeks ago, we definitely talked for a short time. But it's funny too because between the time we did the show and the second time we talked to him, which was like since 2015, it's about 2 years. Already, if you listen to the 2 shows and put them parallel, you'd be like, I think that story changed a little bit. So it's like we got to catch it at the right moment and. Really nail it. But the kind of, I was a little disappointed myself personally because part of that story was realization that when I used to work at Sensi Seeds in Amsterdam, one of the things that pissed me off was that the owners always told me that everything was from Sensi Seeds, and I was always like, it's not true. It's not true, guys. There is weed out there that's not from you guys, obviously. But at the same time, when I nail these things down, I find out that a lot of times it is true. Like that was. It was like, well, somebody went to Amsterdam and went to Sensi, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
So that was like kind of like one of those disappointing shows where I didn't want to go any further because it was like, well, that's just literally telling me exactly what I didn't want to hear, which was that it was the NL5. Yeah, it was an NL5. It was an NL5 renamed and being the hot shit and back wherever he went back to, which is that's what happened in the 80s and 90s is that the people who either flew out to Amsterdam and picked up seeds or ordered them, because once I went to Canada it was already getting kind of fucked, you know what I mean, in my opinion. In the very, very beginning it was Seed Bank and Super Sativa Seed Club, and you had to order them, and those people who had the balls back then before the internet to like send money out, some cash and fucking wrapped up in a thing to a guy in Holland who would then call a guy and back in America then to send seeds to him from Ohio or Oregon or whatever, and so it was kind of like those years were the kind of magic years that if people got those beans, they really were the fucking man, you know what I mean? Because I remember the guy who lived on the little island that I was living on in Rhode Island, called Jamestown, and it was like one kid grew some killer affy, you know, and it was like, I remember him telling me some bullshit story, and it was just like, you know, some lady grew it and whatever, and it came from Afghanistan, and I was just like, you know, no, dude. Like, and I found out later, of course, that he had ordered seeds from Super Sativa Seed Club and got him, you know, some killer weed. And so that was kind of like, you know, those were the magic years, you know. And that's why when I moved there in '89, and it was kind of the end of that whole, like, the '88 catalog was like the kind of like the last of the analog years, and then it all started to get, they switched over in early '90s, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, what got me really excited about the whole Hog's Breath thing, and this kind of ties into what you're talking about the 80s to 90s time frame, is I grew up smoking the strain called Hog's Master Kush, which you've had Matt Wright on the show a few times, and he had worked with James Hogg Gonzalez, who was down in San Diego, and he created the San Diego Hog's Breath, which it makes it super confusing because I was like, well, was it Adam's Hog's Breath that I smoked? Was it the San Diego Hog's Breath? What was it?
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, later, I think
you know, that's something we could definitely get to the bottom of at some point, because that is where I picked up my cut of the hog from. So it was like, okay, well, you know, they came from San Diego, but the guy was from Tennessee, and it was his dad. So the kid that I got it from, it was actually my business partner in Amsterdam. It was a guy that he went to school with, and it was his dad who grew it, and his dad looked like, you know, Uncle Jesse from Dukes of Hazzard or something, and he still lived the Tennessee life while he was in San Diego. But and then the year that we entered the hog, it was actually a real pain in the ass to grow. It was like really small, and it was like very like kind of like floppy, and it was just like it was not a fun plant. You know, it was like one of those things that I got it, got the clone, brought it back. It was also grown outdoors. It was very buggy. I had to like deal with a whole bunch of bullshit, and so when I finally got it to kind of grow normal, we entered in the cup, and I really didn't think it was going to do very good because it didn't look that great. It was smelled strong, and it was good, but it just didn't have looks. You know what I mean? That's one of those things. The cup, everyone's always looking for the good-looking weed, and it was like, this looks kind of, I don't know, weird. and then it won, you know, and then it won based on strength, pretty much. And then I remember my mom was so pissed. She was like, no, that's the fucking worst plant in the room. And I'm like, I know, it sucks, right? I'm like, oh, I got to keep it. But, you know, that's the luck of the draw.
Funny how that works out sometimes.
Luck of the draw, right?
Yeah, because the Hog's Breath, as far as I know from the San Diego cut, is a 88 Sativa Seed Bank stock cross, which is where the 88 early 90s time comes in. And they said it was a NL5 cross with a in a space on there.
Yeah, I think exactly sounds about right though. NL5, it's either NL5 Skunk or NL5.
It was Williams Wonder NL5 Skunk #1. It was a three-way cross.
Okay,
those are the three, and most of them came from 88 Sativa Seed Bank stock, because I believe the cross was made in 88.
Yeah, it makes sense.
From what I've heard, because the people still run that original Hog's Breath cut right now. The family still runs it down in San Diego.
Right. Well, that's definitely so Williams Wonder was Super Sativa Seed Bank, and NL5 though was the other seed bank was from Neville. So that's actually two different seed banks. So maybe they took the two different ones from different seed banks and they made their own cross with it or something. Because that sounds about right. And the Williams Wonder is like one of those strains where if you didn't grow it right, it wouldn't really be a nice plant. But if you knew how to grow it, like if you could pre-flower it and then put it outside, like where you normally would never do that. Like normally you put it out and veg it and then let it flower on its own or whatever. This thing you couldn't really do that because it would explode when it went into flowering. And if you grew it like a big plant, and it would never be able to hold itself up at that point. It would kind of turn into a big mess. But if you put it out like a kind of pre-flowered, decent like 2-footer, and dropped it in the ground, it would root and flower and just kind of go real crazy and end up with these big donkey dick kind of colas, you know. So it was kind of like the ultimate plant when you figured it out. But if you didn't figure it out, it was just the fucking worst plant ever grown because you'd just be like, what is going on here, you know? It was a great. Yeah. It was a really cool strain. The only people,
right on. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about it.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for calling in.
All right, have a good one, guys.
Peace. See, it was like fishing. That was like fishing.
Absolutely.
Almost got a story. Didn't quite get a story. No, we don't got it. 720-310-8237. If you guys want to call in. If not, whatever. We can chit chat. This fly is going to drive me fucking nuts. At the end of the show, I'm going to go nuts. I'm going to smash this whole place up. Kill this fly. I'm going to smear it across. I'm going to take video. I'll video.
I'm like scared you got to break your rig swatting this fly.
I'm just like, are you fucking kidding? It's like,
so like,
plus it's like near where I need to talk all the time. So
yeah.
I just put my mouth on a fly.
I had a question from a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
I could have swore I heard you say something about HOG. Is there like a strain called HOG?
What, hog, regular hog.
Oh, okay. So does it stand for something? Is it Heaven's Own Grape or something like that? Or?
Well, no, hanging limbs over tin is what it was on my, but it doesn't really make any sense from the hog thing.
Right, yeah.
But it was called hog.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Because
that was like Tennessee thing.
Because I got
Tennessee, Georgia.
I got some Harmony extracts the other night, like a month or two ago, and it was H.O.G. It was all abbreviated, and I think the guy said Heaven's Own Grape or something like that, and then I heard you say hog, and I was wondering if they were like anything similar, but
Heaven's Own Grape
or something, I don't know, but it was really good tasting concentrate, you know what I mean? But
okay, so it was a concentrate too?
Yeah, it was concentrate,
okay.
yeah, but it was strain specific, I guess, or whatever, but it was it had grape. Obviously, it was like citrusy grape type stuff. So, just wondering. I just heard you a couple weeks back, and I didn't have a chance, and I was just remembering about it right now.
So, hold on. Let's see. Maybe. Oh my God, this could be the.
Oh yeah.
This could be the one.
You might break this thing open here.
I don't know. The bros called me during the show. See. The bros. I tried every angle today. I called.
Oh wow!
I texted everybody. Now, let's see. Hold on. Let's see what we got here. Did we get nothing? Nothing. I thought I saw an answer from. Go through some of those questions. Is there anything on there?
Yeah. Someone said that they had a hog called Heavenly OG, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe I don't know. But this one was This one was no OG in it at all whatsoever. Right. It was all just grape. It almost tasted like someone put a bunch of flavoring in there or something in there. But
I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, as far as I know, Harmony is pretty reputable and wouldn't do something like that. But who knows with anyone like that? You know what I mean? I don't know.
There's so much fake. That's one of the things that I believe. I mean, hopefully it doesn't last too much longer because the thing is that all these artificial terps are not good for people to smoke.
No, absolutely not.
And I get really pissed off when
I have firsthand experience with the stuff from the green solution. My friends go there all the time for some reason, and they bring the stuff Nectar Bee, their own in-house extraction stuff, and they even tell them that there's artificial terpenes added to it, and oh my god, and it hurts your throat so bad. I tried it once, and it was terrible.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're. It's the same as blunts and stuff. When people have grape blunts, it's dude, it's bad enough you're smoking tobacco, but that fucking flavoring is what's gonna kill you in the long run.
Right.
You know that shit is not. They didn't design it to be smoked. We need some grapey flavored stuff that you can smoke. It'll be safe. It's safety's never a thought. That's for sure.
Right.
Let's see. No, I don't know. I thought I had an answer. It looked like I had an answer, but
yeah,
I'm not seeing anything in my inbox.
So what do you think about people smoking terpenes in higher concentrations? People are saying that that's maybe causing that cannabis endometriosis thing or whatever. Or I don't even. That's probably not even the right word.
Whatever. I know what you mean. Though.
Yeah.
It'll be like a spell check thing where forget about it. Don't even try to say it.
Hypermesis syndrome. That's what it was.
Cannabis hypermesis. Well, I met somebody who actually has that.
Okay.
Should we get him on the phone?
Or maybe if anyone in the chat gang has any experience with someone who has said that they've ran into the cannabis hypermesis syndrome.
Hold on.
Because I've heard lots of debates I've read lots of debates on Facebook groups and stuff like that, and people are saying that maybe it's people since the inception of dabbing and people getting higher concentration of terpenes from their cannabis now, from their use now, that it could actually be causing the syndrome. And it was interesting. I mean, I know people have feelings about hash church and stuff, but I was watching it last week and they were talking about the same exact kind of thing. As far as we may be overloading our system with terpenes, you know what I mean? As far as making concentrates and, you know.
Well, you know what's happening right now in California that I've heard. Let me see. Make sure I'm going right now. Let's see. Damn. See, I almost. See, I was. So that's the other thing too. I'll punch in my phone number, and then they'll be like, "I tried to call you like 20 times." Be like, "Oh yeah, I probably should have put the show number in." This is Dave Weiner from New York, who does video and stuff. He helped us on that roast.
Oh, okay.
But he had that condition, which was kind of crazy. He was like he's probably one of the guys who High Times wrote about it, if they ever wrote about it, just because he'd be that guy.
Yeah, right.
Because he's really close to them.
No, it's funny. Like, I grew up with a guy. He was always the guy who had the weed, and he was always just selling it to people. And like, he was one of the first people who had dabs that I ever saw. He brought the first rig to a party that I ever saw, and I saw him recently, probably like a year or two ago, and he said that he had that syndrome and he can't smoke anything. Like, no dabs. He doesn't smoke flower. Nothing like that.
This kid still smokes like crazy, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But you know what's also kind of crazy is in California now, with the pens and stuff, that they are starting to now they're putting more terps in and less THC, and they just keep kind of like tweaking it and noticing that. Okay, so Dave said he'll call in.
Cool.
Call in now.
We are ready for you.
Oh, he said an hour. No. Wah. I'll just put his live now. It's live now. It's live now. He's at a dinner. You can call in. Why the hell not? Yeah. Why the hell not? Typical. So the
go with the vape pens in California. You're saying?
Yeah, they were actually. So what they're doing is that because they notice that people don't really notice the difference. If you put like super high THC in, I'll put no problem.
Like distillate, like raw distillate with no terpenes in it.
And they'll just put they'll put just like, and they put less and less, and then they realize if they put about 30% THC instead of like 70, nobody notices a difference. You know what I mean? And then people are like, cool, then we'll just do that, and then just put, and they're putting it because the terps, as we're noticing, kind of like dictate the kind of like the direction. If it's maybe it doesn't really like, so if you're real like lightweight, just by that slight direction, you're already like, oh, I'm there. You know what I mean? Whereas we need a lot more help than that. You know what I mean?
I heard a really good analogy for that. Like THC, CBD, the cannabinoids are all the fuel, and the terpenes are what driving the car, basically. So and kind of dictate the high and the effect that you get from it medicinally.
Yeah, and then it's a very, very smart analogy. So, how much are the pens out there? Ridiculous. Is it like half a gram, $90 or something stupid? Because that's the moneymaker out there.
Sure. Well, they had those like disposable e-joints. Mm-hmm. You've seen those where they have the battery. It's just like a one-time use. You know, you go through like 250 milligrams of oil or something like that. You know what I mean? Those were like $30 to $50 for the most part, and then grams were like $60 to $80 for like BHO, and yeah, it all kind of looked like boo boo. You know, right. Nothing I would want to look at. You know. Well, and that was the other thing too, is that you could kind of see some of them, like if the packaging was good, but they wouldn't let you take it out of the package, and you couldn't. There wasn't a display gram to like check out. So, yeah. So maybe I mean, I only had time. I didn't want to get lifts to like 30 different shops or something like that. You know, 3 different shops or whatever. I just got a lift to one that was pretty close to the hotel. I tried to I was like watching Bike's posts in Vegas to see like where he went and all that stuff.
There he is. Mr. Wiener. Wiener. At Diener. Wiener's at Diener. Hello.
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 Hello, is that Wiener at
Hello,
Diener?
this is
Hello, is that?
this Adam Dunn Show?
This is the Adam Dunn Show.
You are
All
on
right,
the air.
this is Smoking the Smokies.
Smoking the Smokers. I thought it was Mr. Wiener calling in. I have another guy checking in. Oh, he's trying
This is Smoking the Smokies.
How you doing,
All
Mr.
right.
Smokies? How's the Smokies doing out there?
Doing wonderful. Just ain't able to chat today, and I just wanted to say I've been growing a little bit of the hog kush that I got from Adam,
Oh, nice.
and I'm just gonna say it's phenomenal.
Sweet. Oh, glad to hear someone's out there still cranking it out. Okay, so now I got another caller coming in, so we'll just hang in there. You can stay on the line if you want. Mr. Wiener,
Yep, Senior Adam. How are you?
how you doing? Are you at Diener, Mr. Wiener?
I am at Diener.
You're at
Mr. Wiener is at Diener.
Mr. Wiener's at Diener. We got Smokey and from the Smokies on there too. So say hi to him.
What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm doing fine. How is everybody?
So see, we got a whole
Pretty good.
got a
Another
whole-
day without a...
with that, yeah. So okay. So we were just we were just in mid conversation and it was like came up. Obviously nobody could pronounce the condition. Nobody knew what it was, and I was like, I know somebody who's got it. And now he's at dinner. So what are you doing at dinner? You're not even allowed to eat, are you? You can't eat. You can't do nothing, man. You're puking all the time.
No, I can't.
What are you doing?
I can't smoke weed. I can't eat. I just have to take hot showers. It's a vicious cycle, as they say. So it's called cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, and
Emesis?
hyperemesis in medical terms stands for repetitive vomiting. And the only time that I've ever come across this term in my research is in pregnant women. So basically, I'm a pregnant, sappy, emotional.
Oh, that's what it was.
Woman.
Yeah, that makes sense. It totally makes sense. I mean, now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, that is exactly. You couldn't nail it.
So I personally call it my weed period.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't 100% buy into it and think it's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a doctor in Boston that just recently started doing a clinical study on it, and I just came across this information yesterday. It was actually like an article, and I'll send that to you, Adam, within the next 24 hours.
Nice.
And it's for me, it's so inconclusive because sometimes it'll happen after. I mean, I'm only 25 and I work in the music industry, so I have my long nights here and there.
Sure.
And sometimes it'll happen after a long night of whatever, and then other times it's been literally completely random. I just wake up the next morning completely sick and start throwing up and can't stop for 12 hours and need to take hot showers religiously. So it's very, very interesting and kind of confusing. But my theory on it is because every time you go into the emergency room, they're diagnosing your problem, and they go, well, you're vomiting, do you smoke weed? And you go, yeah, who doesn't? And I go, how much weed do you smoke? And I go, well, I mean, a little bit more than the next guy, but not as much as Adam Dunn does, but so it's and then they go, well, do you take hot showers? And then they go, cannabinoid hyperemesis. So there really is no scientific proof that I've come across where I've been like, okay, this is exactly what it is. But it is something that's very real. And even in this study that I came across yesterday, actually, it's kind of funny that you messaged me. And the doctor said this is 100% a very real thing. And the only conclusion that he came to from his study on whatever patients he had, and I'm sure it was not a large enough test group to be scientifically quotable in our own opinions, just as people who are kind of theorists and stuff like that. But he said that it 100% is a very real thing, and I can attest to that. I mean, the symptoms that I go through are very, very real, and I cannot stop puking for 12 hours on end, and I have to go to the hospital to get more fluids in me under IV. And unfortunately, I end up having to use the pharmaceuticals that they give me, which sucks because I'm very against that. I mean, Adam, I know we talked about my company, Stone Sober, and kind of our mission about spreading awareness of cannabis as an alternative to pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. So for me, it's a big struggle of, cannabis is such a safe haven for me and a relief in my daily life, being a person who struggles with pain from shoulder reconstruction, stomach issues from chronic, being force-fed ADD meds as a kid, and also being an ADD patient who uses weed to calm down, cannabis to calm down. So, but that's my input on it, and I don't know if that helps you guys at all, but I got to run back into dinner, unfortunately.
Okay, no problem. I just wanted to get it right from the horse's mouth there before it puked all over us. Before it puked all over us. Quick, get it before
straight
it pukes.
from the tip of the wiener, as they say.
Exactly. Well, congrats on your anniversary, and get back to that dinner, Mr. Wiener Diener, and then we'll talk soon.
Wieners, Dieners. Yeah, of course. Thank you very much for thinking of me, even though hopefully we can think of each other in more lighter terms next time.
Yep, cool. Thank you, man.
Of course. Catch you later, brother.
Talk soon.
Have a good night, guys.
Peace.
Later.
Bye.
Yeah, so in the process of talking to him, we lost Smokies. Oh, man. We were going to talk.
Yeah,
Wasn't
we
like
talk,
we weren't trying to. That's why I said stay on the line, because I didn't mean to. You didn't have to leave. You can call back if you want, because I just happened to call. It just happened to be like that timing.
Maybe
bro.
they didn't want to waste their minutes, man.
Yeah, of course. So
I
if you
need
want to
my
call,
minutes.
oh man, this fly, dude, it's unbelievable, dude. This fly. I'm gonna watch this whole video just to see the fly attacking me the whole time. It's like I'm trying to be like a fucking statue, and like I'm like, are you get the fuck out of here?
That's funny. So a lot of people some people in the chat room brought up the fact that it could be from like pesticides.
Oh, for sure, it could be a lot of. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they're now taking it seriously, which it sounds like. So now he's actually got doctors telling me it's a real thing. So real thing means they're gonna have to do some actual research.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, so many. It's like when they had that. Remember back in the day when it was like, oh, cannabis will make you grow breasts, and you're like,
oh yeah,
okay, really? Because look at everybody. I'm looking around, and like none of us are growing breasts, and we're all. I mean, now if you wait until we're 50, fuck yeah, they're all got moob city, right? But if you did it when you're, smoking when you're young, I mean, like, and that is the kind of like ironic thing is that. Everything else, people are like going quicker and quicker and quicker. But when you start looking at kids now, and you start looking at thinking about yourself when you were 11 or 12 or whatever, when you started smoking weed, and you look at 11 or 12-year-olds now, and you're like, that they're not quite there. You know what I mean? It seems like there's some definite differences.
I gotcha.
And we're all fucking hypocrites, of course, but at that point, you know.
I'm sure if you saw a video of yourself when you first started smoking weed, you'd be like, okay, that guy's not ready.
That guy was not as old as I thought he was. Okay. Well, anyway, so like I said, if Smokies wants to call back,
yeah, absolutely,
call
back.
If anybody else wants to call in, it is the same number as I said before, 720-310-8237. It's always these are always funnier because then you never know what's coming. You know, you're just doing like talk radio at that point,
right?
And flies, and you got flies. With flies.
Yeah.
I saw some other questions. Oh, they always want me to go to like stories, but then I start a story and I get all sidetracked and go backwards in time. Oh, but actually, what is interesting is with Seeds Here Now, they are going to, for the next 4 or 5 months, I guess it is, until the Emerald Cup, which is about like December. So we're talking about 5 months from now. They're going to be giving out the 13 different potential sort of crosses. Some are F1, some are F2s, and some are even F3s, which are going to be the weird ones. Well, they're not quite there yet. They're sort of like, there's like a half-done because the idea of the whole next project that I'm doing is I'm going to do like an open-ended project where I kind of got some lines started and then hand it off to whoever purchases it, and then give charity, 25% charity, and then it's like me and Bodie combo thing.
Cool.
And there's only going to be 100 sets. You know what I mean? Oh, there you go. Who we got? There we go. See, I knew if I told a story, then it would go. Yeah. Welcome to the Adam Dunn Show. Who we got?
Smokey's back.
He's back. See, he didn't get interrupted. See, you called right when we got the other call. So, and I actually called that guy, and he was at an anniversary dinner, and he had to talk about his condition. So it was not the most exciting conversation to get sucked into. I can understand. So tell us about the hog that you're still. Was that from recently that you got, or is it kind of an older one?
Basically, if you remember, Adam, me and my brother Buck Russell come and visited you a few years back, about 3, I want to say.
Yeah. Exactly.
It took me a while to get them popped because situations here.
Gotcha. So it's from the batch. Okay, cool. So it's from the recent batches. Nice.
Yeah. But it was at the Hog Cross of Kush.
Uh-huh.
I use it for sleeping medicine, basically, because it is so awesome. It's the only thing that puts me down.
Nice. So, and how did it go with all the auctions and all that stuff? It worked out pretty good? I mean, that all kind of came together in the end?
Everything came together real well. The only thing is like you said, the first couple of times I tried to do it, it just blew the hell up on you. You couldn't really control it, wouldn't hold itself up, so forth, falling over constantly.
Right.
So I basically started doing it to where it was 3 to 4 main branches.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up filling in solid colas, and I've ended up with, great phenos, everything. I've truly love it. Another one of my favorites that I got from you is a Tangerine Chem Dog.
Uh-huh.
That sucker, people just beg for it. They love the medicine.
Nice.
It helps with so many ills that people have.
Yeah. Sounds delicious.
Yeah, it was actually Tange. It wasn't Tangerine, but it's Tange. Yeah, the Tange Chem. The Tange Chem. That was actually got that. It retained most of them retain that the Tange part of it all, which is the deeper berry flavor and stuff. And it's a good solid indica. Great plant.
Yep. Another one I liked very much that come from Colorado that I got from you was the SS Fog. You had crossed it with the Chem.
Uh-huh.
I thought I loved the Fog by itself, but man, with that Chem added to it, it's superb. It's probably my go-to, the most smoke that I do the most. I smoke it the most.
Super sour Fire OG is what it was. That actually did work out really well too. That was just a real I had some cuts from Mile High Seeds here, and just happened to be in the room, and it was like one of those very limited. I never did anything with it, but it had some. That was one of those ones that I kind of just got it out to the right people, I think, and always got good feedback from that. Everybody was always like, there was a keeper in that one, and it's always funny when you have stuff that you just you didn't really wasn't even in your radar. You know what I mean? Just did it and have it, and it's always if you get enough people telling you the same thing, you're like, all right, then there's got to be something to that one because I got guys in Appalachians and I got guys in Australia telling me the same thing. So you're like, okay,
right.
Must be something.
Right.
Cool.
Right. And I'm going to tell you, and the seed ratio, has been awesome. I've got more female. I have a harder time getting a male than I do trying to keep all females.
Oh, that's always
so,
good.
For them, so you're everything I'm popping. That's like here recently. I put in some bubble gum and some heavy duty fruity and all.
Yeah.
To see what sticks they were and all. Everyone but a Cherry OG I had. That was the only male I had was the Cherry OG.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, it's.
Of course, I got it from somebody else.
I was gonna say that's not in my stable. That was not in my stable. But in the thing is, and it is luck of the draw when you're doing. That's the whole thing about regular seeds. Like as a, bagging them up and selling them, and you're like, you can only hope that you're doing a good job when you're doing it because you're not it is luck of the draw. And there's been times when guys have come. And it's been exactly that where they were looking for males and they oh man, are you feminizing because I'm getting hardly any and I'm like, well, not really. I'm just like that's just and I've had it completely opposite too where guys were like, fuck man, I almost got all males, and so it's like, and that is obviously a bummer. And that was back in the day of the whole push that people went for feminized, but. For me, it's I'd rather just still find the right one and then make clones off of that for a while and hang on to it and just know what you got because it is fun. Yeah. Did we lose him? Oh. Now we're losing you.
I'm sorry, you got bad storms here right now.
Oh man, gotta watch your shit. What kind of storms you got? Like windy, or is it all rain? Or
right now, the past 2 days it's been a little bit of rain and all, but today's been a bit of wind and a lot of rain. And of course, my outside gardens are loving it like no other. But I just the phone where I'm living at the moment just don't work good right here. I have to get out and away from the house just to be able to call.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Now another one I got going right now that's yours. That's in a week 4 is Underdog.
Uh-huh.
And I'm loving it. I got one that seems to be more indica dominant, and the other one's more sativa. But at the same time, they're just so beautiful, and the way they're frosting up and everything. I'm just anxious to put the taste test to it.
Right. So the question in the chat was about the chem in it. So I got like from Derek from Incredibles when I first came here. He had a chem double D male from Rez, who, like, of course everybody hates Rez, but he did do a couple of good projects, and he had selected a male from that, which I've done. So depends on which way you're looking at it. There's some that if it's a male that I used and hit up a chem, then it would be the chem D. If it's the male is a chem, then it was this chem double D. Just to clear that up. So there's a couple times where you have to clarify that, but and that all depends on the order that you see it on the thing. But for the ones you had, that was the chem double D that we used, and that's produces some pretty huge buds. Also, that's one of the things. Like it will actually impart real conical, large fucking buds on your things that normally would stay real tight and not kind of come out of the leaf, out of the crown. You get those ones that just leaf coming all the way to the top. This would actually push them out. It's good to hear that those finally got put in the ground, because that's always one of those funny things. Is I'll give people seeds, or I'll, like come back to their house 2 or 3 years later, and they'll still have them there. I'll be like, "What? You didn't even do them yet?" They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna do them, man." Yeah, I know it's hard. It's hard to get them in the program.
Right before Rusty got sick, we finally got to start doing things again. And unfortunately, he passed away 3 days before our first harvest would have been. And, that's a downfall. But the good thing is God has blessed us with many patients. And, one right now is unfortunately suffering right now with hospice, about to pass away with cancer real bad.
Uh-huh.
But the other ones that was in worse condition are having a very good turn to the better. So, God only knows the truth of how things work out. All I can do is provide God's medicine as it's provided to me.
Yeah, I mean, that is like an unfortunate thing. We all go, like, we're all out there taking care of, trying to take care of who we can, and but that's part of what makes it keep rolling. Just knowing that you're part of that piece of that puzzle for that person to keep them in the right conditions.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, not every state has went legal yet, and I'm just praying it does soon.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's I know you're definitely in the one of the tougher ones, and that's gonna there's gonna be places that are gonna be the last of the Mohicans when it comes to legalization and or acceptance and all that. So hopefully not as long as Oklahoma and hopefully a couple other ones will be a little bit after you guys, but
I hope so too. But until then, I'll just keep doing what I do and pray for the best, and that's all I can do.
That's for sure. Well, I'm glad.
Hopefully I might be passing through Colorado in a week or two. I hope to look you up again and shake your hand and see you in person again.
Yeah, for sure. And you should, if it works into a Friday, come through and come on the show, be a guest.
Yeah, come to the show.
That's always open seat here for anybody in the chat gang like that, and would definitely love to see you. Keep us informed.
Well, next time I come, I hope you got a fat boy size of your shirt, so I can get me one of my size this time. Of course, I've lost a little bit of weight since you saw me last. But
oh, good. Well,
still, I like to wear the shirt. I like to wear a shirt that looks like a tent.
For sure. Sounds good, man.
Well, y'all have a wonderful day, and thank you for letting me speak.
Awesome. Take care. Peace. Straight from the Appalachians. Yes, it's interesting because friends of mine have just watched the episode with the Buck Russell episode like the other day. Like, dude, no way, you know, because they have they're listening to whatever.
They're just going through,
yeah, and they're like, fuck, can't believe it, you know.
The hardcore OCD podcaster types like me.
Yeah, exactly. So they're like still way behind, obviously, but
that's funny.
Yeah, it's live on in the podcast. The podcast will live on forever.
Absolutely.
Which is kind of true. That's one of the weird things about these shows is, you know, back in the day it was always radio, and then now it's like, it's interesting because we can go back. And again, like I was saying with the guy, the Hog guy, it wasn't quite 2 episodes, but for me it was because I got to read a letter. Like we contacted each other in 2015. So... And then he talked to James, and then he told James it was like maybe 2 months ago or 3, I don't know, something crazy like that. And he's like, no, I showed him the letter. This is you sent this to Adam in 2015. He's like, huh? Like the time and space were just completely not making sense. So
weird.
But, you know, just shows you how, and so I think with the podcast too, you'll see that too, where, you know, people will be like, I never said that. And you'll be like,
it's right here.
It's right here.
Yep.
And the people who were listening to it, they'll remember everything, of course, you know. So who else did we try? Oh yeah, Sonny. Sonny and said maybe. I think he said something. I had him, but another guy that was. Oh, Short. Oh, there we go. Short. Now they're all answering me. Like I got hours of content.
Nice.
Let's see. Shoot the shit with Short. That could be our next episode. Well, right now, actually. So.
Segment.
Next
segment.
Let me see. I'll put it on right now. Boom.
Do you know much about the duckfoot strain?
Hawaiian duckfoot? Yeah, I mean, a little bit.
I know you guys had a show on it. I listened to it a long time ago. I couldn't remember it.
I mean, it's, you know, the leaves are super obvious. I have a strain. I have one of the Jasmine Catfish crosses, which was, I can't remember which one it was, but it's weird. It has but I think it's just a leaf deformation. It's not inherent, but it has like the same where one of the leaves has like a double leaf where it kind of jags off of it or something like that.
Right.
God, this fucking fly.
Oh yeah.
He's
relentless. I was alive with the whole time.
He's so bad. So maybe Short's gonna call him Shoot the Shit with Short.
Yeah.
Part of the show. See, it's funny because like a couple years ago nobody knew who Short was because he was very much an underground guy. And now he's like doing the biggest project, you know, in the States as far as like in Greenhouse, and so people.
Right.
Oh my God. So it wouldn't be bad to talk. I know he was harvesting some of the stuff of mine, so I'd like to see what he did. So
sure, absolutely.
And this is a be typical too. Like I'll have everybody like trying to fight to get on, fight to the death. And then let's see. Maybe Sonny I can get Sonny and Short because he was just down there at this spot. So I'll just put the same thing with him.
Yeah, Chat Gang is definitely calling for another Hawaii show.
Okay, well that's good. You know what we'll do is we'll get Grayskull because he just had an article come out recently, and it was cool because he basically I read the article thinking like, okay, I know that when he did his competition, he literally called us up and was like, I want to do the Adam Dunn show out here. I was like, cool. And he's like he just wanted to be like everything. I was like, just go to the site, get this, get out this app. It'll help you fucking line it all up.
Yeah.
It's like a competition app that Mitch figured out, and just all fill it in, and boom, you can pretty much like use their framework, and it all worked out really well.
Sure.
And but in the thing he said exactly that. He said it was it's kind of a combination of the Adam Dunn show and some other competitions. I was like, cool, I like that. Little recognition.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Apparently we're invited for the next year. So we'll get Grayskull to come on. I'll talk to him, and we'll get a couple other Hawaiian guests. Got a guy on the Big Island. We got a few people in Kauai, and
wow.
So we've already got it. We've already got the framework kind of there. So we might as well get some of the old guests, some new guests. Get Jason King on, or a couple other people.
Yeah.
A few later people. But the Wally duck and the Hawaiian duckfoot, it seemed to be similar. Look, he's on you now.
Oh yeah.
That thing is crazy, dude. It's like a pit bull of flies. It's just on you. He's going after you.
It's crazy.
I don't know. Short's scared. Don't be scared, Short. Just call. He's got a lot of work to do, I'm sure.
Oh,
what's that?
Smoke and Smokey said, "Sorry, Adam. Yes, the auction did great and helped the family so much I could barely hear when I called in from the storm here."
Oh, okay. Not a problem. Let's see. So now, of course, I'm sending to him because people think it's going to be like planned or something.
That's funny.
So, why the hell not? Let's see.
Radio magic.
Call in Short. Shooting the shit with Short. And then maybe Sonny. Let's see. He said, of course it is. I'll just say like 15 minutes. Yeah. 15 minutes.
Yeah.
15 minutes max. Boom. Okay. Boom. So maybe he'll call because I'm keeping it short.
Right.
Just get it. Keeping it short.
Keeping it short.
Keeping it short with Short.
Good stuff.
Short and around. Now it's good because Short grew up in Amsterdam and pretty much grew up in he grew up in Africa, and we've had him on the show before. But I mean, he's always fun to talk to because he's got a lot of experience, and now he's growing large scale and doing some big things, which is for a lot of people it's like they've never seen it, so they don't understand it. He's gone in and he's seen it before and always had to do it clandestine, so to be able to do it openly,
above ground. Yeah,
it's not that it's easy, because nothing's easy, but it's
sure. So can you refresh me on what exactly it is he's doing?
He runs a big greenhouse down there. No, he says he wish he could, but he's rushing to get to the bank. Okay, no prob. All right, no problem. He's running he's the largest tomato farm in North America that was under glass, converted to cannabis now. So he came in and retrofitted the whole greenhouse, and it's getting it kind of. It's not all operational. The whole greenhouse thing's huge. It's like 7 or 8 acres under glass, something like that. I think it's like 7 or like 60 acres total, but they're only got like, I don't know, it's a couple acres now.
Wow.
Pretty awesome stuff.
That's cool.
I'm not going to really quote numbers because I'll probably be all off. Be like, dude, it's not that. It's either way bigger or way smaller. You never know. But I know it's up there. Okay, let's see. Now, Sunny, we could just get Sunny for the last 10 minutes, but we don't really even need anybody because now it's going to dwindle away. Let's see. So, okay, good. Mom's coming up for tonight. I'll try to get her on the show one day too. She'll never do it, but we shall see. What's that?
Tony Baloney's asking if you would ever have Skunk Man Sam on the show.
Sure. I mean, he's always on
Hash Church.
He's on Hash Church, and he's on with Todd McCormick now all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I'd have him on for sure. He's fun. He's fun because he's super. He'll never agree on nothing. Like.
Yeah, he's pretty argumentative.
He's very argumentative, so it's awesome. I love Sam. And the thing is, it would be, yeah, sure. I'll reach out to him. I'm sure now he's getting tired because he's doing all these other shows, and
sure,
he'll come on, hang out with us. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, it is really fun to watch. Sometimes drop in and listen to some of the conversations on some of the other shows, just because it's like. I'm like, we're all obviously talking about a lot of the same stuff, and there's not,
Sure.
But it's, yeah. I listened to him. I listened to the new Todd. Todd's had like 3 or 4 shows out right now, so I know Sam's been on most of them. So if you want to catch up on some Samism, because he's very much. I was listening. I was like, yeah, this is pretty much the conversation you would have with him. Doesn't matter who it is on the other end, on the receiving end. It would be me or Todd or anybody else. He's going to be argumentative and or look for a way to not answer your question the way you hope he'd answer it with
right.
Kind of like. Eh.
So on that tip, do you have any cannabis podcasts that you would recommend? Like.
I mean,
just off the cuff, or I don't know.
Well, I mean, now that I don't remember the name of the guy, but I'm sure somebody in the chat room because I saw him posted earlier. But the Australian dude is really cool. I'm going to be on his show. Apparently, I should probably know his name. That'd be probably good to.
Yeah, sure.
He definitely wanted to interview me. Seems like he's got a lot of the same guests and kind of going for the same idea, like going back, working with breeders and strains and things. He seems really cool. I'm sure someone's going to pop it up. And
sure.
Also, Kevin Jodry or whatever, who we've had on the show from Wonderland. Wonderland Nursery. His are awesome. Like anything that he does, I always listen to just because I love the accent too. He's got the New England accent.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That combination it's almost like I'm listening to a combination of Bill Burr and a Grow thing. So it's like, yeah, this is awesome. It's gonna start going off the rails soon.
Awesome.
No, he's cool. To be quite honest, I'm pretty bad about listening to other podcasts.
No. I was just wondering because
I haven't really got patience to
sure.
go through too many shows.
No, I hear you.
Okay, whatever.
I used to keep up with 50 different shows at one point in time.
That's crazy.
But I don't do that anymore. But
yeah, I got about 6 or 7, and there's not very many Grow ones, just because.
Well, I was about to say that this is the first podcast because I was looking for something that was kind of local. You know what I mean, about cannabis, and this is like the closest thing I could find to it. You know what I mean? And then the only other two that I listen to that are like mainstream, you know, there's like the Cannabis, their podcast. I do that one, and then
there's that Dude Grows show, the Dude Grows show.
Oh yeah.
That one's okay. I've watched that a couple times.
Sure.
And then Heavy D's got his show, but I never listened to that. I don't know. Just to me, it seems a little commercially oriented.
Right. Oh yeah. No. That's the thing is that this is the first one that I ever found that was like, you know, that seemed like, you know, real information is, you know, and not.
Yeah, we try. I mean, we try, like, and we try to have fun, obviously. And it is interesting to go back and listen to all the old episodes because I'm always like, you know, we had our goofy times. We had because there's, you know, we had the kids shows, which are always kind of funny.
Right.
They make me laugh. But then we had a lot of good knowledge coming through, and I think that's also, you know, been the focus of the show from the beginning is to try to like somehow. And it is funny because back in the day I was like, man, I wonder if you could do. I was thinking because I had my leaf blower thing, smoke machine. So I was like, I wonder if I could become like a stand-up comedian because I'm not very fun. I'm not super not funny, but I'm not like super funny either. I'm terrible with jokes. But as long as I got everybody really high, it wouldn't matter anyway. So I was like, if I could like book a place, and then everyone knows that the leaf blower is going down, there's going to be a quarter pound of weed or whatever and a bunch of hash. I could say whatever the fuck I want, do a bunch of stupid weed jokes, and then bring them, blast the crowd, and then I would get paid because everyone would be like, yeah, this is the greatest show ever. That was my big dream when I first came back to America. But I was like, yeah, that ain't going to work. Can't find a place to do it. That's the fucking problem. It's like, and then you're going to fill the place with smoke. Okay, sure. And then you just got to like not do it and then do it. God damn it. Flies.
Yeah.
This is one of the most crazy episodes for that. Well, we're coming on.
Yeah, we're almost up here on 2 hours here.
We're on our 2 hour mark now. So, if I got nobody else calling in, a good show though. I do like to see.
The chat room keeps telling you the podcast.
Oh, the podcast. That's what it's called. Exactly. How come I can't remember that?
Okay.
Because it was so on point. That's why. Podcast,
okay.
Of course.
So that's the one. That's the guy you were talking about. Okay.
He's an Australian guy, and I've listened to a couple episodes. That's where the Purple Urkel episode. If you guys, so basically, I'll help him out right now. If you want to get the Purple Urkel story, the half of the story. That's the reason why we're going to do this story is because we have another guy who says that that's all not true. Which I was like, aha. But blammo, the Purple Urkel Wars. Now we all know Ken Estes and stuff too. I maybe now that we have an extra week to do it, I'll call Estes up and get him involved because I'm sure his name's going to pop up in the whole story anyway.
Sure.
So we might as well have all the characters, and if Sonny's listening, he can jump in at some point, and we can get we'll track this purple mythology down. make it all. Because the funny part about it is, like, for me personally as a grower, I think everybody goes through their phase where they're like, oh, this purple weed, because it is beautiful. Like when you see nicely grown purple weed, depends on the kind, how deep purple it is. Some stuff's like black purple, which is almost like not nice anymore. Then you get stuff which is like kind of a fuchsia and it's got all those crazy colors going through it. That's all. Those look nice, but they're never hardly ever strong. And then you get ones that are like not genetically purple, they're just fucking stressed out. It's beyond belief. And sometimes those look really good and even sell for more because of the fact that they shouldn't be purple, but they are, and whatever. And that's like the crazy 90s thing where people were just flipping, oh my God, it's purple, anything purple. And especially in inner city, in Oakland, all those places loved it, purple, purple, purple. But the rest, for the most part, as a grower, I think it almost is unanimous as you're growing that most people don't gravitate towards them anymore. Yeah. Except for people like Sonny and a few other people who understand that there is something else happening there too.
Sure.
And I love it when you look at the trichromes, and the trichromes are all purple too, and they have like, that's when it's like, okay, this is interesting stuff sometimes.
There's like people coming up with purple rosin too from certain plants as well.
Well, when you make like bubble hash from purple weed, it's like, whoa, dude, if you could bottle this shit, it's like purple water and purple foam and purple this, but, again, usually not the most like, it's kind of like, the buzz, but definitely if it stands out. And that's also how those old Super Sativa Seed Club and stuff, they had the Sputnik variety, which was a purple that was and I remember when I got there was a guy growing it, and it was like beautiful, but it just nothing, it didn't do it. Say again, like it just didn't do it. It was like, damn.
Yeah, I haven't encountered any purple weed that knocked my socks off. Yeah. So.
There you go. But we're all ready to be changed. Why not? Fuck it.
Oh, yeah, I'm receptive to it.
Change my mind.
Absolutely. Bring it on.
Yeah. So I think we're going to have sounds like we're going to do the Urkel episode next week, magically somehow. James will wake up from his coma, his post-Alaska coma, and be like, what? They did a show? No. But if he didn't, and he didn't have it planned, well, even better, we'll have it planned better next week. Yep. So I want to thank all the sponsors, Incredibles, New Millennium, Build a Soil, and Seeds Here Now for supporting the show. And we will be talking next week, and same bat time, same bat channel, all that stuff. Shout out to my beautiful wife Cece and little Nick, who's not so little anymore. He's now getting like fucking humongous. Getting ready for school. It's got 3 more weeks till he goes to kindergarten.
Crazy, man.
Ooh-wee. And then we're going to be 5 weeks down here at the shop. So if anybody's in the Denver area, from basically 3 weeks on, I'll be down here rocking and rolling all day at the shop, using the spot a little more than normal, which would be cool.
Nice.
I know that Champs, I can talk to the guys from Champs when they're in town. We're going to be having some sort of get-together down here. There's a couple other events coming up soon, so it sucks because most of them are all like undercover, I can't tell anybody.
Right.
But we'll tell you after. We'll be like, man, that was a great event. You should have been here. Should have been here. Anyway, any shout-outs? Got any shout-outs?
No, I mean, my band's playing tonight.
Where?
We're at Herman's Hideaway.
Herman's Hideaway.
We had to change our name from Dankrupt to Diamondite.
I am going on the podcast. That's for Mr. Focal Grows.
Yep.
Wait, I think any day now.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, so we'll go on that show, and it'll be the other way around. I'll be the guy getting questioned, grilled.
Sweet.
What about that one? What about this one? All right, so see you guys next week. Thanks for calling in, everybody who did. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Practically every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden messages.
Special question. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensibilia, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it ganja.